All right, boys, in today's video I'm going to be explaining gear from start to finish, how to obtain it, what to do with it, the differences between gear, and the different types. I'm going to cover two types mainly. I'm going to cover character gear and box gear. Okay, if you've played the game for a little bit, if you're not a completely newcomer, you probably know what I'm talking about, but I'll get into the little depths of it. Okay, how you can farm gear, how you can get a bunch of upgrade materials for it, right? A lot of this game is going to be resource locked, and a lot of it's going to be potion locked as well. Okay, if you're free to play, like this account is a full free to play. Okay, anything you see here, by the way, if this motivates you in any sort of way, is obtained fully free to play. Potions obviously are difficult to obtain. If you can't just do 100 multis every banner, you're not going to have 50,000 R coins like I do on my JP, and you're not going to have the stamina to everything. Okay, so you want to be smart about your stamina, which I'm going to sort of cover. I'm not going to be your stamina advisor, unfortunately, for this video, but just know that a lot of the stuff I talk about you can't just obtain like this. Okay, it's going to be a long process. It's going to take you weeks, if not months. But yeah, let's get into it. First of all, how do you obtain gear? There's going to be two main ways. One is going to be, both of these technically are stamina intensive, one less so in a way. The old main way is you go on equipment right down here, and once you have the villages of the first 6 chapters, I believe you have to have them maxed, or at least at some sort of level, like 3 or 4 hearts, you unlock the gear quest. Now when you do the gear quest, it only gives you the gear for this quest. Okay, if you started, you do 8 runs, you get this gear piece. Okay, I never care for those gear quests, but this page is still useful because you don't click start, you just click the gear you want. Let's say you want a defense, the quest right now is for the bracelet, but you want a defense belt. Okay, so you just go click here, boom, it takes you to the stage. Okay, you want an SSR one, you'll go to this one. If you just want like a low rarity one, you just go to this one, you farm it over and over again. Right now it's have stamina too. If you want to farm this, it's going to be fairly decent for your stamina. Right, 55 stamina at the chance of only 3%, but to get a SSR belt is going to be very useful. Okay, now I'll get into rarities in a second and why they matter and what they actually do and what they allow you to do. And the other way is going to be from the equipment draw, which you get keys from playing PvP and from like certain events and logins and all sorts. You get like thrown a ton at you. And what you can do here also is if you have a bunch and you just want to like run through them, you can set what you want to like auto salvage and what you don't want to auto salvage. Right, so if you don't want a bunch of crit defense gear and everything, or lifesteal gear, you'll be able to auto salvage that. And this banner also gives you hammers, awakening stones, and also anvils. Right, very useful banner. Now if you don't have keys, it will take you gold, and it is quite gold intensive. It's still worth it, but gold also equals stamina, so both of these just take a bunch of stamina to do if you want to have a bunch of gear, which is why I mentioned the whole stamina thing in the first place. Now I mentioned rarity. Let's first talk about rarity before we talk about sets, before we talk about rolls or anything. Right, the way rarity works on gear is the lower the rarity, the lower the basic stat. Okay, if you have a gear piece, I need to find one that might have what I need. Well, it doesn't matter, but the rolls are going to be the same, right? A common gear, right? A common attack ring right here can have like the 30% pierce roll, right? If you max all these out, which only takes gold, which I'll get to in a second as well. The same as like an attack one, as a UR one, right? The rolls don't matter. The only difference between the rarities is going to be the basic stat, right? Like right here, you see it gives me 190 attack. This gives me 840 attack. That's the difference between rarities, okay, when it comes to stats and what they provide to you. The other difference, like I said, if I want to reroll this, it'll cost me diamonds, which never do this ever in your life, no matter how desperate you are. I've done it once because I was desperate and I went for like 80 diamonds quicker than I could realize, and like, trust me, that was before I actually had like a ton of gems to use. I felt so horrible and I knew it was stupid the entire time, but I was so desperate. I don't know what it was though, but yeah, just never do this, right? And anvils, although you can get a bunch of them, they're again mostly stamina locked, mostly time locked. You can't just have infinite of them when you want to, so you want to be sensible with those. So for a lot of new players, what I would recommend is you get the highest rarity that you can roll with gold, which is going to be rare. Okay, SR, when you want to okay, well, let's get an upgraded SR piece. Okay, I don't have one on me right now, but if you want to roll SR or SSR gear, it will take you anvils. Rare and below will take you gold. Okay, so we've covered that the only thing that matters, the only thing that changes between the rarities is the basic stat. Okay, now it's quite a big difference. Okay, going from 16k HP to say 1000 HP if you rock a common is a big difference. Okay, and the 14% HP is gonna amount to less than this whole difference. Okay, now there's another secret about gear stats, and it's going to be the right side gives you less stats than the left side by about half. Okay, so this gives me 8,300, this gives me 16,200. Okay, so you understand this right side gives you half the stats roughly. Okay, so a trick a lot of people do is they equip SSR gear on the left side, upgrade it, and then on the right side they keep it on rare or uncommon or common gear, and then they get to roll it perfectly, because here the 14% will actually give you more HP than this 8,000. But here the 16k is going to give you more than the 14% in most cases. Okay, especially lower rarity characters, if they're not like LR or whatever and they already have like high basic stats like flat out, where percentages do more. This will do way more than the 14% on like early on characters. Okay, so a method to make your character strong really quick is to have SSR gear on the left side and R/lower gear. You should just do common. There's a bunch of people that believe in R gear. I don't believe in R gear until much later on, because it's so gold intensive. If you just have common gear or uncommon gear, whatever, this is so much cheaper to roll, so much more affordable for like the average player. If I wanna roll this, it's 10k per roll, so it's gonna be 50k. Whereas if I roll a common one, it's I need to find an upgraded common one. If I find I don't have an upgraded common one. Okay, well, if I find a common one, let me upgrade this real quick so I can show you. Boom. If we upgrade the common one, it's going to be 5k, so it's going to be 25k, so half of that. Okay, so for the most part, I feel like the stat difference between common and rare isn't enough to warrant going that way. So what you want to do for a lot of the early gear is going to be common right side, SSR left side. Okay, the SSR, if you're a super new player, you don't even have to bother rolling it. Okay, if you're lucky and you upgrade it, it'll hit like HP once or twice, or it'll hit attack once or twice. But for the most part, if you just have SSR left side, common right side, that's going to be good enough for your characters at the start. Eventually you want to get all these up to SSR, okay, because then you can UR it, which I'll cover in a second as well. Now the next thing I want to talk about is the positions. Right, the top will always give you attack, these top two. The middle will always give you defense, and the bottom will always give you HP. It doesn't matter what set it is, it will always do this. Okay, and the rolls correspond to that as well. So the bottom row is HP, so all the stats that you can roll are going to be HP related, right? So HP, regeneration rate, recovery rate, lifesteal, HP. Okay, boom. The middle row is defense, so you'll get all the defense related stats. Okay, so you're gonna get defense, resistance, crit defense. Okay, and then the attack is gonna be attack rated stats, which is going to be attack, pierce, crit chance, crit damage, right? Boom. It doesn't matter what set they are, they will give you those rolls. And for every piece that you're ever going to roll, for 99% of cases, except the stuff I'll cover at the very end, is going to be the actual basic stat. Okay, so it's the top row, and this is the attack rate stats. You will get attack. The middle, you'll want defense. The bottom, you want HP. Okay, that's going to give you the most CC, the most stats, and the most power in combat as well. For the most part. Okay, that last one was a lie maybe, but it's what we usually use, because it gives you the most basic stats, which translates to the most, I'm just gonna say strength. It's gonna try to do the most strength in battle. Okay, there is some very specific setups, but for the most part the basic stats are king. Okay, basic stats are king, which is why characters like NANASHI and stuff, they increase basic stats by 30% for a certain whole race. It's crazy. Okay, so now you understand the basics of gear. How do you get SSR gear up to UR gear? Okay, let's say you have SSR gear on a character. I'd have to click one and get lucky. Okay, boom. Let's say you have your character, right? And this is let's say this is all rolled and you're happy, and this is a character you like. Okay, this is the gear for this character. Okay, you want to use this for this Chandler. At that point you would engrave the gear. Okay, now actually I'll go to someone that has +5. Right, it's Meliodas. Like, let's say Meliodas, even better example, right? Once it's +5 and it's 5-star, you can change the rolls afterwards. You can engrave the gear, okay? Which will cost you UR gems, right? Which is the equipment engraving stones. We'll call them UR gems. And it'll cost you awakening stones that you can upgrade at king. You have to get the regular blue ones and just upgrade them. 6 of 1 is going to be 1. But once you do that, it's going to be UR gear. Okay, now you see, this is Lost VAYNE. This is not this Meliodas. It's not traded really. The way UR gear works is if a character is of that name, it will work on him. Okay, so right now, Lost VAYNE has this HP gear. Okay, and you can see it's active because it's glowing right here, right? It's glowing pink. It's his UR gear. If you equip it to a character that isn't Meliodas, it will not glow. Okay, maybe we can find one right there. Right, this Dana for Liz has Kyo's UR gear. Okay, so it's not glowing for her. She's not getting the bonus stat. So right now for her, it's only SSR gear. Okay, she's not getting the UR bonus. The engrave bonus you only get on the character that you actually have equipped, right? HP plus 4k upon equipping Meliodas. It doesn't specify a certain Meliodas, it just has to be a Meliodas. Meliodas and Elizabeth doesn't work, but Meliodas works. Okay, any Meliodas I equip this gear onto is going to have the engraved stats. Okay, I'm pretty sure when you talk to Merlin, she shows you. Okay, not in the way I was hoping for, but you can see here it doesn't show like, oh, a certain Tarmiel or a certain Sariel, right? If you put UR gear on Sariel, all Sariels can use it. Right, even the other Sariel, right? Like this is like the red Sariel, right? The OG. The other one, the green Sariel, the like Covenant of Light Sariel, whatever it's called. Those Solar Seed, right? They will also be able to have this UR gear on them, right? Ludo, Margaret, the festival will also be sharing this because they're the same character. Okay, as long as they have the same name at the top here, right? Like this Chandler and the Demon Chandler we just wear on will share the same piece. Because they're all Chandler. Okay, there's some very silly ones where it doesn't work, like Meliodas and Elizabeth, which is sort of understandable, but I wish you could still just use it. Or Demon King, we call him Demon King Zeldris, obviously, because you know why. And Zeldris, the UR gear doesn't work on him, right? Mael and Esterosa, the UR gear doesn't work on them. Right, it's still Esterosa specific gear or Mael specific gear. But for the most part, Escanor, this Escanor, base Escanor, the one Escanor, they'll all share the same UR gear, right? This is just Escanor's life bracelet. So that's how UR gear works. Now, how do you get those trading, those UR gems that I was talking about? You need to go to Trading Cave, which you get a key for every now and then. And once you enter, you can do fights that I'm not going to enter right now. But once you enter, you'll be able to do fights, and every 3 fights you'll get a gold fight. And once you complete the gold fight, you get rewards, which usually are UR gems, and you also have a bar at the top, but that's whatever. But from those fights, you can get UR gems. Okay, now the way those fights work is once you have done enough of those. Now quickly open up my JP. I just want to explain it actually when I go in. The way it works is Trading Cave in general. You have to use your own characters, right? Obviously, they're ungeared, but once you use them, you can use them again. Okay, and these fights, there's different levels. What you want to do is you want to clear those if you can, right? You need to have an account established, you need to have a bunch of units, and they need to be fairly strong, have outfits leveled up, be super awake and everything. Once you get to that point, you can do these missions right here, right? You'll be able to read them when it says, right? There's a ton, I think, of videos out there of people doing these, but with all the new characters we have now, this is ages old. Doing the mission should be fairly easy. And once you've accumulated enough stars, you can skip ticket the entire thing. Okay, you don't have to fight ever again. You just go here, click this, boom, you're done. Okay, now if you don't have enough stars yet, but you've cleared this, you can also skip ticket these, right? I can skip ticket these right now because I've cleared the missions and my CC buff 144k. This matters for the skip ticket stuff. Okay, that's very neat stuff. But Trading Cave, essentially, it's going to be a slow process if you're a new player because you don't have enough units. If that's the case, stick to lower difficulties. Right, limit test how much you can get. But as you can see from these fights, you can get these, right? Boom. And from the gold fights, I'm pretty sure there's just a higher chance. So when I go and skip ticket this right now, right, a full run of this on level 4 right now gave me, oh, I got lucky, I got unlucky, I got, oh no, actually, I mean, it's okay, I guess. I got 12, right? I got 4, 4, 4, boom, I got 12 UR gems. Okay, those keys you get from your mail, or you can buy them in the coin shop, right, with festival coins, which I just did because I had to show it, and I already did my Trading Cave. But essentially this is the way you get it, right? You're not going to use the festival coins right now. You don't need that much UR gear when you start out, and you just want to have your main character set, which now that you know that it's on the full character, not just a certain unit, obviously you want to do the SIDs first, right? For the most part, right? You want to, like, Meliodas, there's so many good Meliodas. There's Diane, there is actually not that many, like, and sort of, but Diane's useful. Ban, King, like, they will get new cards continuously, right? And then you want to start worrying about, like, okay, right now Hell is broken, I want to run Hell. You'll get Hell UR gear up, right? Or you'll get Subneck UR gear, whatever is meta right now, whatever you're using actively, you want to get that up as well, right? Tristan is going to get his new gear, right? Like, once we get the new Tristan, this Tristan's UR gear is going to work on the new Tristan, right? On the adult, teenager, whatever Tristan. So if you want to prep, you can do it this way. So yeah, that is the character gear covered. Again, you can start out with SSR on the left side and then have common on the right side, and then eventually you'll upgrade the common to SSR as well, and you engrave these all on the character you like. Okay, now you can use engraved gear on other characters that aren't the main character, but they won't get this engraving bonus, right? So it essentially will just be SSR gear. Right, like, this is just, like, this number is just this plus this. Right, when it's not active, if I give him let's get a life ring as well. Okay, boom. On the Nabra, she's missing this 199, so I don't get the bonus, right? So it's back to 638, right? I equip this. It doesn't matter what the roll is, right? It's 835 because I'm getting the 199. Okay, plus the basic stat, which again you want to have be as high as possible. Now box gear, which is characters you don't use, but you want to have a higher box CC. Right, box CC is going to help you in essentially every piece of content ever. Especially early on, the first, like, bonuses you get are really big. I think until like 8, it's so nice being able to read this, but 8 million and stuff was like the first, like, cut off, like, oh, now you know what you're doing. Like, now your count is getting to a point where, like, you can take on most things, right? Then 10 million is like, okay, you can take out most things, and you probably have done so. You probably not just take them all, you can probably clear most things. And then 13 million for me is, if you're free to play, 13 million, that's like, I've made it, you're done. Okay, I know free to players that have, again, this account's free to play, he has 15 million. I know free to players with 16 million. That's a lot of dedication, a lot of time spent. That's not gonna be for everyone, obviously. If you're someone that just enjoys the game, 8 million to 13 million should be your goal range. Okay, once you hit that, you know you've made it. As a free to play, you're cooking. Okay, if you just started, it just takes time. If you started in, like, when Meli came out in New Year's, and you had like 3, 4, 5 million now, you're doing great still. Okay, so don't worry about that. Now I made a separate box CC increase video, so I'm only gonna talk about the gear for this one. Okay, but I did make a how to increase your CC video. The way you want to gear the rest of your box is very resource saving, right? You don't want to use like a bunch of anvils and gold and everything on it, right? You want to be as preserving as possible. You just want to give them gear so they have stats. So instead of just having their base 20k CC, they have like 32k CC, right? Because it's 12k CC per unit. There's 5 in this row, there's 5 in this row, right? That's 25 times the 12k. That's going to add up, okay? That's going to add up to a bunch of CC, right? That's 300k CC that you're missing out on. So let's talk about how you want to gear, and that's not how you want to gear. Okay, that's how you want to gear. Okay, I explained the CC formula. The way CC formula works, obviously HP is the biggest stat. Okay, 20% of this is still bigger than this, is still bigger than this by loads. Okay, so HP is the biggest stat. So when we equip these characters, we want to give them HP and defense gear, because HP and defense gear is going to be the most CC you can get out of a unit. Okay, the 4-piece HP and the 2-piece defense, that's the most you can get. Okay, now HP is the bottom row gives you HP as the basic stat, right? Doesn't matter. This is a defense one, defense rune, right? Defense set. It still gives you HP, right? Like I've mentioned before. The reason why we have these as SSR is because the basic stat is so high, so we don't have to worry about rolls, right? We upgrade this, we equip this, we don't worry about rolls, we get the stats from this, and that's good enough, right? Like, yes, we could take a rare piece or a common piece and roll these to be 15% HP, and then just miss it on the basic stat. But especially on characters that aren't fully upgraded, like she's not fully super awakened, just getting that 16k HP is going to be way more than getting the 15% of the base HP added on top, right? So that's why what we do is we just take this, right? We take the gear, and you just want to get it to 5 stars plus 5 SSR on the bottom left on the belt. The rest doesn't matter as much. Again, this is the piece that gives you the most CC, right? Because left side gives you the most, gives you double the stats on the right side, and HP gives you the most stats. Therefore, the belt is the key, the king of CC when it comes to gear. Okay, defense is the most worthless one. What you want to have for the longest time, if you're a new player, right, for months, you're just gonna have common to rare gear in the middle. Okay, you're gonna have it look like, make it look like this. Okay, but then the bottom left, you're gonna have your actual main piece, which is the HP. Again, you don't have to roll it. This is not character gear. Character gear you want to roll, and for the rolls, obviously, it's up to you and your resources how you use them. I would recommend, if you're starting out completely, 2.5%. If you're around 8 million bucks CC already, you have some gears established, probably start doing 2.7. And then if you're at like 10 million CC, 2.8, from my experience, is going to be the most beneficial to you. Right, because getting from 2.8 to 3% with anvils is much easier, with hammers, and also 2.8, like at the top end, the more you narrow it down, the more likely you are to get 3%, right? And 2.8 still gives you enough of a bubble. I prefer 2.8. A lot of people like 2.7, but regardless, if you're starting out 2.5, 2.4 maybe even, and then when you have more established gear sets already for characters, you start going up to 2.7 minimum roll, right? And what I mean by this is you do this, right? You do 2.7, you do 2.2, 2.5, depending on your resource. You select anvils, you don't select diamonds, and you roll, okay? And you roll it until it's at that stat. Okay, so if I do 3%, I can only select these. 2.5, these are already higher, so I can't roll these. You get the point, right? But yeah, for box CC, for your Denzel that you're never going to use, right? If you go to Denzel, where is he? Right there. This character's worthless. For him, all you do is you just upgrade this, right? If you hit a 1.7% HP, whoop-de-doo, nice, you hit a HP. That gives you slightly more CC, but you just want to increase his HP. Right, you just want to have this be increased. This doesn't matter as much, right? The middle pieces, you could just have these common. The defense gives you very little CC, right? 80% of this, it's like 87 or something, right? 87 CC, and then this is like the double, right? It's like 160, whatever. This is not going to give you much CC. Okay, so these can just be common. That's completely fine. This one can just be a common piece that's rolled. Okay, if you wanna go the distance, you should just start with common pieces that you roll, because upgrading SSR gear is also very expensive. So if you just do common gear that's rolled, that's gonna be very good for you, right? You roll it, you get it to 15%. And then the top row, the attack row, it matters. It gives you a good chunk of CC, right? So possibly if you want to, you could just have this also be rolled SSR, then not rolled, but upgrade SSR. But also, if it's just base SSR, right? If I just put this thing in, right? Let's assume it's the right set, right? We want 4 pieces of HP and 2 pieces of defense. Let's assume it's HP. You want to put, if you can just put SSR, that's also fine, right? If you want to put a rare that's rolled, that's good. It's gonna be more. But for the most part, as long as it's just SSR and it's base, it's gonna be fine. And then the right side again, you can just do full common here and roll it. You can do full SSR and not roll it. Right, and just have it like this, where it's just base SSR, not upgraded, and then just upgrade the rune as well, because again, HP, it matters. Or don't upgrade the rune for right now, right? Like just start your blank page, you equip every character with full SSR gear, let's say, and you only upgrade the belt on everyone to 5 stars, and then you go next 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars, and then eventually you start upgrading the attack one, right? And you upgrade on everyone as well. That's gonna be your easiest, quickest way to get your box CC up for gear. Obviously levels and awakening stuff matters as well, but that's going to be something that's also time gated, resource gated, rare coin gated, and you're not going to have infinite of those as if you're free to play or even a dolphin. So next up, I know because I already talked about this, I'm going to get questions about the position of gear. Okay, the position of gear doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't matter where you put the set pieces. The reason why we do the 4 piece on each corner and then the 2 piece in the middle is because the 2 piece is going to be crit damage or defense, right? So it's the stats that don't matter that much to us. They're just nice to have, and they're just the 2 piece we have to fill because there's not that many 2 pieces that are actually useful in this game. Okay, we put them in the middle because, like I said, defense is the worst stat, right, for CC. It's the one that matters at least. Also combat, impact, if you have lower defense or higher defense, it doesn't matter that much. It matters if you have like less than 7k or more than 15k. Then it starts mattering very slightly. You'll feel a difference in the hits you take, but for the most part it's kind of whatever. The reason we do middle pieces is because the special gear, when we take on content like Demonic Beast or Heroes Arena or Guild Wars, we want the middle pieces to have utility. Okay, now like I said, we do defense because it gives us the most CC, but if we don't do PvP, right, and we don't care for the box CC or the CC of the character, and we just need the utility of, let's say, crit resistance, we'll equip crit resistance, right? We'll go crit resistance 21.4%. Boom. We'll put this on this guy, and then crit resistance again 21.2% on this guy. We don't care about the defense. We just want this, right? We'll lose some CC, right? I could have actually checked how much I've lost, but we just want this. We just want this because the crit resistance, okay? If the issue is we're taking too much damage because the crits hurt so much, we roll crit resistance, right? The 2-piece gives you 30%, and then these two give you 20% each, so you get up to 70% extra crit resistance. So now this guy's crit resistance is 160. So the boss is gonna have to have more crit chance than his crit resistance to crit him. Okay, so in demonic beasts, a lot of times the crits hurt. Okay, so what people do is they'll have the 4-piece attack, because in PvE for the most part you'll use attack gear, and they'll just have the middle 2 pieces be rare because they don't want to actually engrave this or whatever, because it's not like this character doesn't need the extra stats or the extra CC, so you don't engrave it. You just keep it rare, you roll it with gold, you have these for those fights, and you get the crit resistance, or sometimes crit defense if it's like a guaranteed crit boss, or there's some or if it's like Guild Wars, it's hard to gear enough crit resistance, you just go crit defense. Or recovery as well. That's a thing for very niche scenarios. When you look up guides for the events, if they're required, people will tell you, right? A lot of hero arena go in second guides will tell you, oh, you need crit defense gear. Okay, a lot of demonic beast battle guides will tell you, okay, if you're doing Skull and Hati, your Thor needs crit resistance gear or she will get killed, right? Or rat or whatever, right? That's gonna be common. But so that's when you know when you need it. But you don't need to worry about it when you're doing your characters, because it's going to just exchange the middle pieces that you're not going to care for anyway. Okay, so when you do your gear sets, you want to have, ideally, the attack and the HP be the actual like the gear that you've rolled well, that you've engraved. And the middle pieces, I know a bunch of people that have 14-15 million box CC plus, they don't engrave these. They never even engrave these. Even like the SSR ones, right? Like this, they won't have these in their account. Only for like Meliodas or something, right? Like a super important character that has a lot of CC. But they just keep this SSR because they don't matter that much. So that's an option you can do if you want to do these things. Okay, if you don't want to complete your character's kit, like compare the gear set, you think, okay, I've gotten what I need out of this character, right? I'm just gonna go have this be SSR gear. Okay, I don't care about this giving me 100 extra defense. I don't care about giving me 100 extra defense, right? I don't care about 200 extra defense, 300 extra defense from engraving this. I don't care about this. I'm not gonna engrave it. I'm just gonna have SSR gear, and I'm gonna switch it out with rare gear when I need to for certain events. Okay, that's something that people do. Now that gear again, you'll mostly just get from this, right? Like crit damage you can only get from here, or from buying it, which is like way too expensive, or you can get it from patrol every now and then, which is not reliable. So for the most part, you'll just get it from the gear gacha. And again, when you do, make sure it's high base stat rolled. Okay, now some tips I'm going to give you for the resources. When there is half stamina on the boss stages, you want to farm the boss stages, okay? Because the boss stages will drop you gear, and then you can salvage that gear, and you'll get a bunch of the red stones, a bunch of the blue stones and everything over time. Okay, another thing is going to be the annual dungeon. You get a key for this every 2 weeks, or you can use festival coins as well. This will give you around 750 animals every time you do it, for those as well. Now, blue stones essentially just come from salvaging, right? Or when you summon on there, you can just actually summon them as well. Salvaging has events, I believe, as well, where you can get higher success rates. So yeah, there you go. I can salvage super and ultra success rate increase, which will give you more resources, right? So if I salvage like this piece right here, I'll get 4 of this. If I get a super success, it'll be more than 4. It was not a super success, it was a regular one. Okay, there you go. All right, let's do this one, right? It's a 5, come on, this time. Super success, boom, there you go, 10 and a blue one. Right, that's how it can go. So when you see those, you kind of want to take advantage of those. You'll farm a bunch of gear in the boss stages, which will also give you awakening mats, so you can awaken your box fully. And then you just go here, you salvage, boom, done. Right. Now, the other thing, which is going to be a lot more niche, a lot more stamina intensive, but if you're someone that's really dedicated, I will tell you this, is if you go to your guild and you go to guild boss, there's sometimes something you can do where you can fight the older guild bosses, and sometimes they have half stamina. Okay, I believe when it's push weak, it's half stamina on the other ones, and when it is half stamina, you'll go into I would just do hell, or you do whatever you can farm the quickest. I'm not too sure. I haven't done this in ages. I'm not too sure what people usually farm. When you farm these, this can drop you awakening stones and anvils, right? And treasure chests, right? You farm gold, anvils, and awakening coins with this, and cards. You could farm artifact fodder as well, which is good. Right, the non-hell ones also drop gear, right? But also animals, right? And awakening stones as well. So you can farm those as well, but only when it's half stamina, right? Because otherwise they're not really worth it. But yeah, you'll go to the ones where you just saw the one that had HP, right? This one gives you defense and crit resistance. You farm these if you want to, for the gear. Yeah, I think, I'm pretty sure I did hard. I think I did hard. And you just clear it in like 1 or 2 turns, and you move on, right? Yeah. Or if you want to be like, I think if you only care about the resources, this is I think better stamina wise, but this is 70 stamina, I'm pretty sure, right? Yeah, 70 stamina. So when it's half off, it's still 35, which is still a lot. Whereas these are like 24. So those are gonna be 12. On this one 20, and then this one's 16. But yeah, so you farm these when they're half stamina, which is when it's push week, which you'll know. Just check every week. You'll know what it is. Yeah, also the actual rewards from clearing the current guild boss are also gonna give you stuff, but this is like not mentioned, like not mentioned, like not worthy of mentioning. But yeah, you farm these, and they will give you a bunch of materials. Right, that's what a bunch of people do. A bunch of whales do that have like 50,000 animals casually, right? Or 100,000 of the blue awakening stones. But yeah, that's going to be it for the gear guide. I'm pretty sure I covered everything. If you have any more questions, let me know. And I hope this was helpful to you if you're a new player. And if you're a veteran, maybe you've learned something new. Maybe you didn't know about the guild boss stuff. Maybe you didn't actually know about the basic stat difference on the left and right side or whatever. Maybe you didn't know the CC formula. You let me know. You let me know. If I forgot anything, also mention in the comments. If there's something big I mentioned, I'll make a pinned comment about it. But I'm pretty sure I've covered everything. And yeah, that's it. Good job.